Have you ever wondered why two people face the same challenge, yet one gives up, while the other turns it into a stepping stone to success? It's not luck. It's not money. The difference is attitude. Your attitude can lift you to the top or drag you down to the bottom. Today, we dive into Jeff Keller's life-changing book, Attitude is Everything. Change your attitude, change your life. Get ready, because what you're about to hear could completely transform the way you think, act, and live. Hello, everyone. Hi, all, and welcome to Book Podcast Zone. I'm Emma.
And I'm John.
Ready to unpack the wisdom and connect the dots with you.
Our mission today, well, as you just heard, is to really get into Jeff Keller's book, Attitude is Everything. We've done the homework, looked at the core ideas, and we're aiming to pull out the most potent insights that can genuinely make a difference in your life.
Exactly. This isn't just like academic theory. It's about understanding, really understanding how shifting your attitude can fundamentally change your life's path. Doesn't matter where you are now, what your background is, or even what goals you have. Right. We're going to cover the big themes. How success really does start in your mind, the incredible power your words carry, and then crucially, how taking deliberate action is what makes it all happen.
It's a three-part framework, essentially. Mind, words, action.
Perfect. So let's jump right into part one. This is all about how success begins in the mind.
Success begins in the mind.
Okay, kicking things off with lesson one. Your attitude is your window to the world. Jeff Keller uses this great metaphor, right? He argues your attitude isn't just how you see things, it is the actual lens, the window, shaping your whole reality.
It really is. He contrasts it beautifully. You can look through that window and see like a vibrant playground full of possibilities, or you can see a gloomy, depressing trap filled with nothing but limitations.
And the key thing he stresses is it's your choice. You get to decide whether that window is clean and clear, letting the light in, or if it's, smudged and dirty, blocking your view. You wake up, and even before you really interact with the world, that mental window is setting the stage.
It's a powerful concept. And what makes it truly profound is seeing it hold up even in the most, unimaginable circumstances. Keller brings up the story of Viktor Frankl, which is just harrowing.
A psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps during World War II.
Yes. And Frankl faced horrors we can barely comprehend: starvation, disease, constant brutality, losing his wife, his parents, his brother, everything stripped away. Yet, even in that absolute abyss, he found he had one last freedom.
The freedom to choose his attitude.
Exactly. He chose to find meaning. He observed human behavior. He focused on his inner life, his memories of love, his hopes for the future, even if that future seemed impossible. He wasn't denying the horror, but he refused to let it extinguish his inner spirit.
It's such a stark example. If he could maintain that internal control there.
It proves Keller's point perfectly, doesn't it? That your outlook, your inner stance is ultimately within your control, no matter how crushing the external reality might seem. It's an incredible testament to human resilience.
Absolutely. And this isn't just something from history books. We see it playing out right now, especially here in the U.S. Think about, say, small business owners during the early 2020s.
Oh, yeah. The pandemic shutdowns, the supply chain chaos, the rapid shifts in technology. It was brutal for so many.
Right. And while, tragically, many businesses didn't make it, others, they adapted. They didn't just survive. Some actually thrived. They had to consciously clean that window, wipe away the doubt and fear, and focus intensely on finding new ways.
They saw opportunity where others saw collapse. Maybe it was pivoting to online sales faster than they ever thought possible, or finding local suppliers when international ones dried up, or creating entirely new services to meet new demands.
Their attitude wasn't just a passive feeling, it was an active strategy. It was the asset that allowed them to innovate and find a path forward.
Keller really pushes us to make that shift, doesn't he? From seeing the glass as half empty to seeing it as, overflowing with potential. And it's not about just putting on a happy face.
No, it's deeper than that.
It's an active daily choice. It's like mental hygiene, You consciously decide to scrub that window clean every single day, looking for the good, seeking solutions, holding on to belief even when things are tough.
So it really makes you think, how do you practically do that? How do you clean your window consistently, day in and day out? What are the habits?
Well, it could be many things. Maybe it's starting your day with gratitude, writing down 3 things you're thankful for, or deliberately reading or listening to something positive before checking the news. Or maybe it's catching yourself when you start spiraling into negativity about a problem and consciously asking, okay, what's one small step I can take here?
It's about being intentional, guarding your thoughts,
Very much so. Being the gatekeeper of your own perception. It takes effort, definitely, but the payoff, as Keller argues, is immense.
A really foundational lesson to start with. Okay, remember everyone, if you're finding this valuable, please like, subscribe, and share for more updates. All right, let's move on to lesson 2, and this one. Well, it's kind of exciting. You're a human magnet.
Ooh, like the sound of that one.
Right. Keller presents this idea that we're all like living magnets. We're constantly radiating energy based on our dominant thoughts and feelings, and that energy pulls in circumstances, people, and experiences that match it.
So if you're constantly dwelling on lack and problems,
You tend to attract more lack and problems. But if you're consistently focused on success, abundance, positive outcomes, you start drawing those things towards you. Your dominant thoughts literally act as a magnetic force.
connecting this to the bigger picture, this isn't some completely new idea. Think about Henry Ford back in the early 20th century.
With the Model T in the assembly line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His vision, a car affordable for the average American family, was seen as, well, completely nuts by many people at the time. The technology wasn't quite there, the manufacturing process didn't exist, the market wasn't proven.
Huge obstacles.
Massive. But Ford had this unshakable belief, an almost obsessive focus on his vision. And Keller would argue that this intense conviction acted like a magnet. It pulled in the right engineers, the investors willing to take a risk, the innovative ideas needed to create the assembly line.
So his internal state, his dominant thought of this is possible, literally helped manifest the external reality.
That's the core idea. He wasn't just building cars. He was manifesting a vision through sheer mental force, demonstrating how that persistent, unwavering focus can attract the necessary components for success, even against significant odds.
And we can see parallels today, can't we? Look at innovators in fields like renewable energy here in the U.S., especially now in 2025.
Absolutely. They're facing huge challenges, technological hurdles, economic viability, political resistance sometimes.
Right. But the ones making real progress are often those who are completely fixated on the vision of a sustainable future. Their dominant thoughts aren't about the roadblocks. They're about solar panel efficiency breakthroughs, next-gen battery storage, smarter grids.
And that intense positive focus that we will solve this energy, it acts like that magnet Keller describes. It attracts the brightest PhD students from MIT or Stanford. It pulls in venture capital from firms looking for the next big thing. It fosters collaboration, and it genuinely seems to accelerate the breakthroughs themselves.
Their fixation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way.
Precisely. And Keller gives some really practical advice here. He says, you need to consciously flood your mind with positive inputs.
Like what?
Uplifting books, biographies of successful people, self-improvement literature, positive audio programs or podcasts, like this one hopefully, inspiring music, stories of resilience. The idea is to deliberately overpower the negative chatter that comes from, the news cycle or maybe social media comparisons or just our own internal doubts.
So it's not just avoiding the negative, it's actively replacing it.
Yes. It's like weeding a garden. You can't just ignore the weeds. You have to actively plant the flowers you want to see. Keller stresses that this persistent positive focus isn't just wishful thinking. It's the engine of that magnetic pull, actively drawing your goals closer.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts now and then. It's about creating such an overwhelming internal environment of positivity that the negative stuff just can't get a foothold. Is that the idea?
That's a great way to put it. It's about critical mass. You need to reach a tipping point where the positive thoughts, beliefs, and expectations are so dominant, so consistently reinforced, that they drown out the negative self-talk and limiting beliefs. It's an intentional, ongoing process of cultivating your mental landscape.
Like you're building a fortress of positivity in your mind.
Exactly. A fortress that not only protects you from negativity, but also actively attracts the resources and opportunities you need. It's about setting your internal frequency to success.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, as we wrap up this lesson, remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and share if you're enjoying this deep dive. All right, moving right along to lesson 3. Picture your way to success. This one taps into the power of imagination.
Visualization, right?
Exactly. Keller uses this analogy of your mind being like a private cinema. You're the director, the screenwriter, the star, everything. And the crucial question he poses is, what movies are you playing in there?
Are they reruns of past failures and disappointments? Or are they blockbuster hits showcasing your future successes?
Precisely. He explains visualization as the practice of creating vivid, detailed mental movies of your goals already achieved. Not just thinking about them, but really seeing them, feeling them, hearing the sounds, experiencing the emotions associated with success.
And he argues this isn't just idle daydreaming.
No, he says it actually rewires your brain. It primes you, motivates you, and makes you instinctively move towards those visualized goals with, as he puts it, gusto.
You know, what's really fascinating here is that this isn't just for, say, athletes imagining winning a race. Keller points to figures like Albert Einstein.
Einstein. How does visualization apply to theoretical physics?
Well, think about his famous thought experiments, Gedankenexperimenten. He didn't have labs capable of testing relativity directly back in the early 1900s. So he used his imagination. He'd vividly picture himself riding on a beam of light or falling in an elevator in space.
Wow, so he was visualizing physics concepts.
In a highly sophisticated way, yes. These mental simulations, these visualizations, allowed him to grasp complex physical laws and relationships that were impossible to observe directly at the time. It proves the power of visualization, even for incredibly abstract thinking. It sparked real-world breakthroughs.
That's incredible. And okay, bringing it back to a more common example, like athletes, we definitely saw this during the 2024 Olympics, didn't we?
Oh, absolutely. Especially with things like VR technology now. Athletes in sports demanding immense precision gymnastics, diving, archery, even skiers, visualizing the course they were using VR for incredibly detailed mental rehearsals.
They weren't just vaguely hoping to do well.
No, they were simulating the exact feel of the perfect dive, the roar of the crowd, the weight of the medal. They were visualizing, nailing that landing, crossing that finish line fractionally ahead. This intense mental practice, powered by visualization, played a huge role in their ability to perform under immense pressure.
It's like getting the reps in, but mentally.
Precisely. And Keller gives us practical ways to do this ourselves. He suggests things like creating a vision board or simply posting images of your goals where you'll see them constantly, your fridge, your desk, your phone background.
But it's not just about seeing the picture, is it?
No, that's the critical part. Keller emphasizes you have to emotionally charge these visions. When you look at that picture of your dream vacation or the logo of the company you want to build or that finish line you want to cross, you need to take a moment and truly feel the joy, the pride, the accomplishment, the relief, as if it's already real.
Ah, so the emotion is the fuel.
Exactly. That emotional connection transforms a vague hope into a vivid, compelling roadmap that your subconscious mind can lock onto and start guiding you towards. It makes the goal feel real and attainable now.
So what's actually happening in our brains when we do this effectively? How does imagining something make it more likely to happen? Is it just motivation, or is there more to it?
There's definitely more to it, neurologically speaking. When you visualize vividly, your brain activates many of the same neural pathways that it would if you were actually performing the action or experiencing the event.
Really? So imagining shooting a free throw activates similar brain areas as actually shooting one?
Studies suggest exactly that, particularly in the motor cortex. It's like your brain doesn't fully distinguish between a richly imagined experience and a real one. This mental rehearsal strengthens those neural connections. It builds muscle memory, mentally at least. And it crucially increases your belief and confidence that you can do it.
Which then makes you more likely to take the actual physical actions needed.
Precisely. It primes you for success. It's like programming your internal GPS with a destination, and your brain starts calculating the route and believing the journey is already underway.
Mind-blowing stuff. Okay, quick reminder for everyone listening, like, subscribe, and share to help others discover these insights too. Let's shift gears now to lesson 4. Make a commitment, and you'll move mountains.
Ooh, commitment. This sounds serious.
It is. Keller talks about that feeling, that incredible rush you get when you make an unbreakable decision, when you know deep down you are going to achieve something no matter what.
That point of no return, mentally.
Exactly. He paints this picture of obstacles just crumbling away when faced with that kind of intense determination. He says full throttle commitment somehow unlocks hidden resources, attracts unexpected allies, and makes things happen that seemed impossible before.
It's that internal shift from I'll try or I hope to I will.
Yes, and connecting this to the bigger picture, you see this power of commitment driving innovation throughout history. Think about Alexander Graham Bell.
The telephone, late 1800s.
Right.
He faced just endless failures, didn't he? Prototypes that didn't work, skepticism from the scientific community, financial hurdles. It was a long, arduous process.
Most people would have given up.
Absolutely, but Bell had this dogged, obsessive commitment to the idea of transmitting voice over wire. His persistence, fueled by that deep commitment, literally reshaped reality. His story isn't just about inventing, it's a pure testament to the power of unwavering resolve. It's a cornerstone of any major breakthrough.
And we see that same kind of mountain-moving commitment today, don't we? Think about, say, U.S. startups in 2025 tackling really complex, maybe controversial areas like the ethics of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that's a huge one right now. Lots of technical challenges, but also massive societal questions, regulatory hurdles.
Exactly. And the companies making headway aren't just building cool tech. They're often deeply committed to building it responsibly. They're committed to transparency, to addressing bias, to navigating those ethical minefields, even when it's harder or slower.
And that commitment acts like a signal, doesn't it?
It really does. It attracts engineers who care about ethics. It attracts investors who are looking for sustainable long-term value, not just quick wins. Their commitment to doing it right, even amidst the chaos, helps them move those mountains of skepticism and complexity.
Keller offers some practical advice here too, like setting bold deadlines and even budgets for your goals.
Okay, wait. How does setting a deadline which feels external actually strengthen internal commitment? That seems a bit counterintuitive. Doesn't it just add pressure?
That's a great question. It does add pressure, but in a constructive way. When you set a clear deadline or allocate specific resources, you're forced to get serious. It moves the goal from the vague someday category into the concrete by this date category.
Ah, it creates urgency and focus.
Exactly. It forces you to prioritize, to break the goal down into steps, to problem solve more intensely. It's a way of signaling to yourself and often to others that you are truly committed. Making that public declaration, even just to yourself on a calendar, solidifies the internal resolve.
So the external marker reinforces the internal decision.
Precisely. Keller emphasizes that true commitment isn't about hoping things will be easy. It's about deciding in advance that you will find a way through the difficulties. That decision is the fuel that turns ordinary people into, well, unstoppable forces.
Powerful. Okay, another lesson down. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you're finding this deep dive helpful.
All right, let's look at lesson 5. Turn your problems into opportunities. This is about reframing adversity, isn't it? Yes. Seeing challenges not as roadblocks, but as detours that might lead somewhere even better. Keller suggests that setbacks often hide chances for breakthroughs.
He frames it almost like an adventure. Instead of dreading problems, we should see them as chances to build resilience, gain wisdom, maybe discover strengths we didn't know we had.
It's a perspective shift. And what's fascinating here is how timeless this idea is. You see it in the teachings of Napoleon Hill, especially during the Great Depression.
Right. Think and Grow Rich came out of that era.
Exactly. Hill taught that every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. He wasn't dismissing the pain, but urging people to look for that hidden seed, that opportunity concealed within the hardship.
And that message gave hope to millions during one of the darkest economic times.
It absolutely did. It empowered people to believe that even in widespread despair, individual opportunity could still be found if they actively sought it out. Perspective, he argued, was paramount.
We've seen this happen more recently, too. Think about people impacted by the supply chain disruptions around, say, 2021, 2022.
Oh yeah, that hit so many industries, lots of job uncertainty, businesses struggling.
Right. But you also heard stories of people who, maybe after being laid off or seeing their industry contract, didn't just despair, they saw it as a catalyst.
The push they needed to finally start that online business they'd been dreaming about.
Exactly. Or to learn new skills for a more resilient field, or to create a local solution to a newly created gap in the market. They actively turned the problem job loss, industry disruption, into an opportunity to build something new, something maybe even better aligned with their passions.
Keller offers some tools for this. One key idea is viewing challenges as teachers. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask us, what is this trying to teach me?
That's a big shift.
It is. It moves you from a victim mindset to a student mindset. And when you approach it that way, you start looking for the lessons, the skills you're gaining, the character traits you're developing. It naturally fosters a sense of gratitude for the growth, even amidst the difficulty.
Gratitude during the problem.
Yeah, gratitude for the learning, for your own resilience, for the clarity it might bring. It unlocks potential because you're focused on growth, not just enduring the pain. He encourages this open-hearted approach that actively flips problems into stepping stones.
So what does this all mean then? Is it really possible to feel genuine gratitude when you're like right in the thick of a major crisis? Doesn't that feel artificial sometimes.
That's a really important point. It's not about feeling happy about the problem itself. If you've lost your job or are facing a health crisis, you're not expected to be joyful about that specific event.
Okay, that makes more sense.
The gratitude Keller talks about is often found around the edges of the problem or in the response to it. Gratitude for the support you receive from friends or family. Gratitude for the inner strength you discover you possess. Gratitude for the new perspective the challenge forces upon you. Gratitude for the simple things that still are going right, despite the major issue.
So it's about finding something to be grateful for, even when things are tough, rather than pretending the tough thing isn't happening.
Exactly. It's about acknowledging the difficulty while simultaneously cultivating appreciation for the lessons, the support, or the resilience it reveals. It's a way to maintain balance and perspective, preventing the problem from completely overwhelming your outlook. It's a conscious choice to find the good, however small, amidst the bad.
That feels much more achievable and authentic. Great clarification. And a reminder for everyone, like, subscribe, and share for more updates.
We're about to move into part 2. Welcome back to our deep dive into Jeff Keller's Attitude is Everything. We've covered how success starts in the mind. Now let's transition to part 2. Watch your words. This is where we explore the immense power of language.
Watch your words.
So, kicking off part 2 with lesson 6. Your words blaze a trail. Keller makes a powerful argument here. Words aren't just sounds or symbols, they're like sparks.
Sparks that can ignite your path forward.
Exactly. He says they can blaze trails of triumphs leading you towards your goals, or they can blaze trails of trouble, leading you into self-sabotage and negativity. He really emphasizes this explosive link between what we say both out loud and in our heads and the results we get in life.
It implies we need to be incredibly careful with our language.
Extremely mindful. We need to consciously craft our words, our self-talk, or conversations to make sure they align with where we actually want to go. You know, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this idea has deep roots. Think about sales training, for instance. People like Tom Hopkins back in the mid-20th century were huge proponents of using scripts and daily affirmations.
Right, repeating positive statements about yourself and your abilities.
Yes, and Hopkins showed that this wasn't just about memorizing product features. The constant repetition of positive, success-oriented language fundamentally built the salesperson's belief in themselves. They weren't just selling a product, they were selling themselves on their own capability through that internal dialogue.
So the words literally shaped their self-image and their performance.
Absolutely. When you consistently tell yourself, I am confident, I am closing deals, I am providing value, those words, repeated often enough, start to carve grooves in your subconscious mind. Your brain starts to accept them as truth and then works to align your actions with that belief.
And we see this everywhere today, especially with social media in 2025.
Oh, definitely. The influencers or creators who build really strong, positive communities often do it through language, don't they?
Yeah. They consistently use words of empowerment, encouragement, possibility. They're not just randomly posting, they're curating their message to uplift and inspire. And that language acts like a beacon, attracting followers who resonate with that positivity.
Their words are actively creating the vibe, the community, the reality they want.
Okay, let's unpack this. So our self-talk isn't just reflecting how we feel. It's actively creating our future reality. Is it really that direct?
Keller argues, and a lot of psychology backs this up, that yes, it is that direct. He stresses how vital it is to share your goals wisely, maybe not with negative people, but crucially, to consistently use affirming language.
Internally and externally.
Both. When you say, I am struggling versus I am learning, or this is impossible versus this is challenging, how can I approach it? Those word choices matter immensely. They program your brain. Affirming words carve those deep mental grooves we talked about, directing your focus, your energy, and ultimately your actions towards the success you're voicing.
It's like giving instructions to your subconscious.
Precisely. Your words become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're literally blazing the trail with your language, either toward your goals or away from them.
A powerful reminder to choose our words carefully. Okay, lesson 6. Done. Like, subscribe, and share if this resonates with you. Moving on to lesson 7. How are you? This seems so simple, right? Just a basic greeting.
We probably say it or hear it dozens of times a day without thinking.
Exactly. But Keller argues that your answer to the simple question is actually quite profound. He says it can be either a gateway to mediocrity or a launch pad for excellence.
Wow. How can a simple answer do that?
Because, he says, your response sets the tone, not just for the other person, but for you. It reinforces your own state of mind and energy level for the rest of the day, or at least for that interaction. It's more impactful than we realize.
That's fascinating. He breaks down the replies, doesn't he?
Yeah, into three main types. First, you have the negative draggers.
The surviving or terrible don't ask crowd.
Exactly. They just pull the energy down immediately. Then you have the neutral plotters.
Fine. Okay. Can't complain.
Right. Just sort of meh, existing. And finally, the positive energizers.
The fantastic. Or
Yeah.
great. Or couldn't be better, folks.
Yes, the ones who inject energy and optimism into the exchange. And Keller connects this to timeless principles. Think about Dale Carnegie back in the 1930s. His whole philosophy was built on enthusiasm and positive human relations.
Carnegie knew that people are drawn to positive energy, right?
Yeah, I hear
Absolutely.
you.
An enthusiastic response, even to "how are you?" packs to build instant rapport, makes people feel good, and sets a positive frame for whatever comes next. It highlights how even these tiny interactions shape our internal state and our impact.
We see this in the modern workplace too, especially with hybrid teams in 2025. You're on a Zoom call, someone asks how you are.
And a person who says, "fantastic, really excited about this meeting," versus the person who sighs and says, "oh, hanging in there." It makes a difference, doesn't it?
A huge difference. That positive energy is contagious, even through a screen. It lifts the whole team's motivation, makes the meeting more dynamic, more collaborative. It sets a completely different precedent.
So Keller offers some practical advice here. He actually suggests, fake it till you make it.
He does, and it sounds a bit controversial, maybe inauthentic, but his point isn't about lying. It's about consciously choosing an enthusiastic answer, even if you're not feeling 100% amazing right at that moment.
Why? What does that do?
He argues that by adopting the positive response, you actually start to influence your own feelings. You trick your brain in a good way, and you definitely uplift the other person. It turns a mundane exchange into a little attitude booster.
A micro habit with potentially macro results.
Exactly. So, what does this all mean? Can just saying fantastic actually change how I feel? Or am I just putting on a performance?
It's a great question, and the science suggests it can change how you feel. There's this concept called embodied cognition, which basically means our physical actions and expressions influence our mental and emotional states.
Like smiling can make you feel happier.
Exactly. So when you say fantastic, maybe you even straighten up a bit, put a bit more energy in your voice. Your brain gets those signals of positivity. It can trigger the release of feel-good chemicals like endorphins. Over time, consistently choosing positive responses can actually help rewire your default emotional state.
So it's not just a mask, it's more like active self-coaching.
That's a perfect way to describe it. You're coaching yourself into a more positive state, one fantastic at a time. And it has that positive ripple effect on others too.
Really interesting psychology behind a simple greeting. Okay, reminder time. Like, subscribe, and share for more insights. All right, lesson 8. Stop complaining. This one might sting a little for some of us.
Probably hits home for most people at some point.
Right. Keller's pretty blunt here. He says, ditch the whine and embrace the shine. His argument is that complaining is a dead-end road. It doesn't solve anything. It just sucks away your energy and keeps you stuck.
And it repels positivity, doesn't it? Both positive solutions and positive people.
Definitely. He warns that constant griping just amplifies your own misery and makes you unpleasant to be around. Instead, he urges us to channel that energy into focusing on solutions.
It's about agency again, isn't it? Complaining is passive. Seeking solutions is active.
Yes, connecting this to the bigger picture, complaining basically means you're giving away your power, focusing on what's wrong without trying to change it. Finding solutions means reclaiming that power. Think about people who rebuilt after huge crises like World War II.
The devastation was unimaginable. Absolutely. And while acknowledging the pain was essential, the focus quickly shifted, didn't it? It shifted to reconstruction, to innovation, to gratitude for what was left, and to building a new future. They couldn't afford to get paralyzed by complaint. They channeled energy into action.
A powerful example of resilience over resentment.
Definitely. And we see this dynamic today, too, right here in the U.S. in 2025. Think about the ongoing impact of inflation, rising costs.
It affects everyone. Gas prices, groceries, housing. It's easy to get caught up complaining about it.
It is. But Keller would point out that the truly successful people, the ones finding ways to thrive despite those pressures, aren't spending all their time whining. They acknowledge the reality, sure, but then they focus on what they can control.
Like finding ways to cut costs or increasing their income or adapting their business models.
Exactly. They count their blessings, focus on what they do have, and then they act. They look for efficiencies, new markets, different suppliers. They avoid the complaint trap and put their energy into proactive problem solving.
So Keller encourages us to put our troubles in perspective.
Yes, he suggests that most of the things we tend to complain about daily are, frankly, pretty minor compared to the real hardships many face globally. That perspective shift alone can diminish the power of small frustrations.
And by channeling energy into fixes instead of venting.
You not only solve the actual problem more effectively, but you also attract more joy, better connections, more opportunities. When you stop being a source of negativity, you become a magnet for positivity and solutions. It's transforming a draining habit into an empowering one.
Here's where it gets interesting, though. What's the practical difference between expressing a genuine concern, which is sometimes necessary, and just outright complaining? Where's the line?
That's a really crucial distinction. Expressing a concern is usually specific, constructive, and aimed at finding a resolution or understanding. You might say, I'm concerned about meeting this deadline because we encountered unexpected issues X and Y. Can we brainstorm solutions? The focus is forward-moving.
Okay, so it's solution-oriented.
Right. Complaining, on the other hand, tends to be more general, repetitive, and focus solely on the negative aspects of the problem without any apparent intention to fix it. It's often about venting, seeking sympathy, or blaming, rather than progressing, like this project is a disaster, everything is going wrong, it's always like this.
So the intent and focus are key. Concern seeks solutions, complaint dwells on problems.
Exactly. One empowers, the other disempowers. Being aware of your own language and intent is the first step to breaking a complaining habit.
Makes sense. All right, wrapping up part 2 on words. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. We're heading into the final part next.
Welcome back. We've covered the mind and words. Now let's dive into the final critical section of Jeff Keller's Attitude is Everything. Part 3. Heaven helps those who act. This is all about putting attitude into motion.
Heaven helps those who act.
Starting part 3 with lesson 9. Associate with positive people. Keller puts it beautifully. Surround yourself with sunlight souls.
I love that phrase.
Me too. His point is that when you do, your own light gets brighter. Your energy increases. Your perspective lifts. But if you hang around negative, draining people, the shadows, your own light starts to fade.
Attitudes are contagious, basically.
Incredibly contagious. He divides people into toxic drainers and nourishing boosters and urges us to consciously choose more of the latter.
You know, what's fascinating here is this isn't just folk wisdom. There's real psychology behind it. Think of Jim Rohn's famous quote from the 70s.
You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Exactly. It's not just a catchy phrase. It speaks to this almost like energetic osmosis. The beliefs, habits, ambitions, even the conversational patterns of the people around you subtly influence you, whether you realize it or not.
So being around positive people isn't just pleasant, it's actually essential for growth.
Yeah, Keller argues it is. Their optimism can fuel yours. Their belief can strengthen yours. Their action-oriented approach can inspire yours. It creates a supportive ecosystem for your own positive attitude.
And in 2025, with networking happening so much online through apps and platforms, this is maybe even more crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely. Choosing which online communities to join, which influencers to follow, what virtual meetups to attend, these choices shape the average you're exposed to.
We see people leveraging this here in the US all the time, joining positive, growth-focused LinkedIn groups, engaging in supportive forums, finding mentors online. It directly fuels career leaps, doesn't it?
It really does. Those positive associations create a virtuous cycle. Shared optimism leads to shared opportunities, leads to shared success.
So Keller gives strategies for this. Evaluating your crew.
Yes, he encourages an honest assessment. Who do you spend time with? How do you feel after interacting with them, energized or drained, inspired or discouraged? He's not necessarily saying cut everyone negative out immediately.
Okay, good, because that can be tricky.
Right. But he urges you to consciously increase your exposure to nourishing boosters. Seek out people who uplift you, challenge you positively, inspire you to be better. Position yourself to soak up that positive energy and let it accelerate your own goals.
So what does this all mean practically? How do we upgrade our crew without being rude or burning important bridges, especially with family or long-term friends who might not be super positive?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's often less about dramatic cutting off and more about consciously managing your time and energy. You can still love and interact with family or old friends, but maybe you limit the duration or frequency of interactions focused on negativity.
Steer conversations towards more positive topics, maybe.
Exactly. Or have shorter visits. And crucially, you simultaneously make a proactive effort to add more positive influences. Join a new club, attend workshops, volunteer, reach out to people you admire online or offline. It's about shifting the balance of influences in your life towards the positive, often gradually, rather than through abrupt cuts.
So it's more addition and gentle redirection than subtraction.
Often, yes. It's about curating your social environment intentionally over time to support the attitude you want to cultivate.
That feels more manageable. Okay, great insights. Reminder, like, subscribe, and share. Next up, Lesson 10. Confront your fears and grow. This one is all about courage.
Stepping outside the comfort zone.
Big time. Keller uses this powerful image. Step into the arena of fear, heart-pounding, and emerge a giant. His core message is that real growth only happens when you face what scared you.
He reframes fear not as a stop sign, but as a gateway.
Exactly, a growth gateway. He urges us to take those bold leaps because that's where we discover our real strength, our resilience, our potential.
If you connect this to the bigger picture, isn't almost every major human achievement born from confronting fear? Exploration, invention, artistic creation.
Absolutely. Think about pioneers like Amelia Earhart in the 1930s, flying across the Atlantic solo. The fear must have been immense.
Unimaginable. Fear of the unknown, fear of mechanical failure, fear of the vast ocean, societal fear or skepticism about a woman doing it.
Yet she did it. She confronted those fears and didn't just break records, she redefined what was possible. Her courage wasn't the absence of fear, but acting decisively despite it.
A perfect illustration of Keller's point.
And we see this today, too, maybe in less dramatic but still significant ways. Think about public speaking in 2025, especially with incorporating new tech like AI presentation tools.
Oh yeah, that adds a whole new layer of potential anxiety, doesn't it? Fear of the tech glitching, fear of sounding robotic, fear of losing the audience connection, on top of regular stage fright.
Right. But the speakers who are really making an impact are the ones confronting that fear. They're learning the tools, experimenting, figuring out how to use AI authentically. They conquer that specific fear to reach bigger audiences and deliver more innovative messages.
They step into that particular arena.
Exactly. And Keller offers this brilliant reframe: turn fear into excitement.
How does that work? The feelings seem so different.
Well, physiologically, they're surprisingly similar, aren't they? Pounding heart, adrenaline rush, maybe sweaty palms. The physical sensations overlap significantly. Keller says the difference is our interpretation.
So we can choose to label that feeling as excitement instead of fear.
Precisely. By consciously relabeling it, you can shift your response from paralysis to energized action. He promises that facing fear head-on, taking that step while feeling the fear, builds incredible confidence and opens doors you never knew existed.
It's about changing your relationship with the feeling itself.
Okay, let's unpack this. So it's not about getting rid of fear, because that's probably impossible and maybe not even desirable. It's about changing how we react to it.
Exactly that. Fear is a natural human survival mechanism. Trying to eliminate it entirely is futile. The goal, as Keller presents it, is to develop the courage to act even when fear is present. It's about recognizing the fear, acknowledging it, okay, heart's pounding, feeling nervous, and then choosing to move forward anyway.
And maybe using that reframing trick, this isn't fear, this is excitement about the challenge.
Yes, or asking, what's the opportunity for growth here? It's about shifting from seeing fear as a barrier to seeing it as a signal that you're pushing your boundaries, which is exactly where growth happens. You manage the fear, you don't let it manage you.
That's a much more empowering stance. Fantastic. Okay, quick reminder, like, subscribe, share. All right, lesson 11, get out there and fail. This one really challenges conventional thinking.
Failure is usually seen as the worst possible outcome.
Yeah, exactly. But Keller completely flips it. He says, embrace the tumble, dust off, and charge again. Failure isn't the end, it's the forge of champions.
Wow, so failure is actually good.
He argues it's an essential teacher. It's not something to be avoided at all costs, but something to be learned from rapidly. He encourages repeated tries, seeing each failure as simply the price you pay for eventual mastery.
You know, this perfectly mirrors the mindset of great inventors. Thomas Edison is the classic example.
With the light bulb, how many attempts did he supposedly make?
Thousands. The number varies, but it was immense. And the key is how he viewed it. He famously said something like, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work."
So he reframed each failure as a successful discovery of what not to do?
Precisely. He didn't just blindly try again. He learned from each attempt, iterated, adjusted. That's the core of Keller's message. Failure provides invaluable data, feedback, lessons. It's not a verdict on your worth, it's information.
And we see this iterative process constantly in, say, the tech world in 2025 here in the US, especially in areas like software or app development or even VRR.
Oh yeah. The first version of almost anything is rarely perfect. It has bugs, users don't like certain features, it crashes.
Right. But successful tech entrepreneurs don't scrap the whole project after the first setback. They see V1's flop as crucial feedback. They gather user data, fix the bugs, redesign the interface, and launch V2.
They iterate through the failures, emerging smarter and closer to a product that actually works and people want. Each stumble is just a data point on the path to success.
Keller really encourages us to see these stumbles as progress markers, doesn't he?
Yes. Every time you try and it doesn't work out, you've learned something, gained experience, built resilience. This mindset shift fuels persistence. It turns failures into stepping stones. The key is to extract the lesson, not just wallow in the disappointment.
So, what does this all mean? How do we genuinely keep from getting totally discouraged when we fail, especially if it happens over and over again? It feels good in theory, but in practice, repeated failure can be crushing.
It absolutely can be. And acknowledging the discouragement is real and valid is important. Keller isn't suggesting you should feel happy about failing. The key lies in that immediate reframe. Instead of thinking, "I failed, therefore I am a failure," consciously shift to, "Okay, that approach didn't work. What did I learn? What can I try differently next time?"
Focus on the lesson, not the label.
Exactly. Celebrate the learning. Celebrate the courage it took to try. Break big goals into smaller steps so you can experience smaller wins along the way, which helps combat discouragement. And importantly, connect back to Lesson 9. Surround yourself with people who also see failure as learning, who will encourage you to get back up, not tell you "I told you so."
That support system seems crucial for maintaining this mindset.
It makes a world of difference when you're feeling beaten down. Having people remind you that this is part of the process is invaluable.
Great advice. Okay, nearly there. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. And finally, lesson 12. Networking that gets results. This is about building connections, right?
Yes, but Keller frames it as much more than just collecting contacts. He talks about weaving a genuine web of relationships and then watching opportunities rain down.
He demystifies it. It's not about schmoozing or being slick. It's about authentic relationship building based on providing value. And that, he argues, yields massive returns over time.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you see this with historical figures too. Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate in the early 1900s.
He didn't build his empire alone, did he?
Not at all. He was a master networker. He built strategic alliances, surrounded himself with capable people, fostered relationships based on trust and mutual benefit. He understood that your network isn't just who you know, it's the collective intelligence, support, and opportunity you can access.
Isolation limits, connection amplifies.
Beautifully put. Carnegie knew that. And in our hyper-connected world of 2025, this is arguably more critical than ever. Think about platforms like LinkedIn, virtual meetups, the gig economy.
Networking is constant, almost unavoidable.
Right. And the people who thrive are often those who engage genuinely. They use these platforms not just to broadcast their own stuff, but to connect, collaborate, offer help, share insights. They spark real collaborations and find opportunities that wouldn't exist otherwise.
They're building real relationships, even digitally.
Exactly. And Keller gives specific tactics for this. One of the biggest is offer value first.
Don't go in thinking, what can I get? But rather, how can I help?
Precisely. That shift changes everything. It makes the interaction relational, not transactional. He also stresses following up consistently, genuinely. It shows respect and builds trust.
These tactics transform casual chats into real support systems.
They really do. They build a network that doesn't just look good on paper, but actually supports and propels your journey. It's about planting seeds of goodwill and generosity.
Here's where it gets interesting there. How do we offer value first, especially if we're just starting out or we feel like we don't have much expertise or resources to give? It can feel intimidating.
That's a super common concern and a really valid one.
Yeah.
But value doesn't have to mean giving someone a job or investing in their company or sharing top secret industry knowledge. Value comes in many forms.
Like what?
It could be sharing an article you read that made you think of them. Making a thoughtful introduction between two people you know who might benefit from connecting. Offering genuine encouragement or a listening ear when someone's facing a challenge.
So small acts of thoughtfulness count as value.
Absolutely. It could be amplifying their work on social media, giving specific positive feedback on something they created, asking insightful questions that show you're really listening, offering a different perspective, or even just remembering details about them and bringing them up later.
It's about being generous with your attention and support, basically.
Exactly. It's about looking for ways, however small, to contribute to their success or well-being without expecting anything immediately in return. Those consistent small acts build trust and goodwill far more effectively than one grand gesture ever could. Over time, that reciprocity naturally flows back to you.
That makes offering value first feel much more accessible. Great point.
Oh, wow. Okay. We've covered a lot of ground today, diving deep into Jeff Keller's Attitude is Everything, from the foundational idea that success starts in the mind,
Through the incredible power of our words to shape reality.
and landing firmly on the necessity of taking positive action. It really does feel like a complete roadmap, doesn't it?
It truly does. We looked at attitude as your window, you as a human magnet, the power of visualization, the force of commitment, turning problems into opportunities.
Then we hit the impact of your words, how you answer, how are you, the trap of complaining.
And finally, the action steps, associating with positive people, confronting fears, embracing failure as learning, and building networks through genuine value. It all ties together. It really underscores that while we can't always control what happens to us, we absolutely have control over our internal response, our attitude, our words, our actions. And that is where our power lies.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe the most important thing is to think about application. I'd encourage everyone listening. Reflect on just one key idea from today that resonated most strongly with you.
Just one.
Just one to start. Don't try to overhaul everything overnight. Maybe it's consciously choosing a positive answer next time someone asks, how are you? Or identifying one small fear you can take a tiny step towards facing this week. Or noticing when you complain and actively shifting to a solution focus. Pick one thing.
And commit to implementing it.
Yes. And consider this final thought. How could that one small shift in attitude, if you practice it consistently, day after day, ripple outwards? How could it change not just your mood, but your interactions, your opportunities, and ultimately the entire trajectory of your life? That consistent, small choice holds immense power.
A powerful thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Attitude is Everything. We hope these insights empower you to cultivate a mindset that truly serves you and helps you build the life you want.
Keep learning, keep growing, keep applying.
Until next time, keep cultivating that positive attitude, and we'll see you back here on Book Podcast Zone.